Yeah, so I have some cool things in the game room. I'm a big whiskey fan, so there's a bottle of Blanton's here. If you're familiar with Blanton's, it's the same whiskey that John Wick drinks, so it's really cool. Got that all the way from Louisville, Kentucky. I have the 50-year gold dragon that I got from Gary Con. Don't know if I'll ever open that. Players would have to do something really cool to get me to open up and use that gold dragon. Not everything is D&D or ttrpg based. I'm a big White Sox fan. I've been going to games for over 5 years. Got my old high school glove and then signed baseball by Dylan Cease, one of the best pitchers in the game before we got rid of him. So probably the coolest thing in my game room is this signed print of Archon the Cruel. I got it at the 50-year Dungeons and Dragons anniversary at GaryCon, and it's signed by Jeff Easley and Joe Manganiello. And if you're not familiar with Archon the Cruel, that is Joe Manganiello's character that he created, like every other Dungeons and Dragons player in the world. The cool thing is that he created this character, and then he played with him, and then he played with him again, and then he played with him again, and he played with him so much that eventually he became canon in D&D lore, which to me is like the coolest nerd story of Dungeons and Dragons. Like, how cool is that to make your own character and then play with him so much and make such a big impact that you become canon in D&D lore? Like, that's the epitome. Like, that's the gold standard, and that's pretty much why I love this game. Ravenloft and ventured to Baldur's Gate, and then you were tasked by So, in order for me to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, I first have to talk about the first time I was introduced to fantasy. Growing up in Texas, there was only 2 movie theaters in my hometown. There was the Granada, which was near my grandma's house, and then there was the Cinemark Theater that was a little bit closer to downtown. The first time that I actually remember being introduced to the world of fantasy was going to see the re-release of the Star Wars movies. And I remember going to the Cinemark Theater with my cousin Joey, and I vividly remember there was no reclining. It was like the smallest seats. This wasn't 4K, this wasn't any of that stuff. And I remember sitting there and my cousin was like, this movie's about to change your world. Growing up, fantasy books and things like that weren't really in my wheelhouse. I was playing a lot of sports. I was mainly playing baseball and football and things like that. Collected Ninja Turtles and that nature, but there wasn't really board games or tabletop role-playing games. None of that stuff didn't come into my life until probably when I moved here to Chicago. My partner Kate said, hey, a group of my coworkers are thinking about playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I said, I gotta be a part of that. I'm joining that crew. Like, I may not work with you. I'm not a coworker, but I'm gonna be in there somehow. I'm gonna weasel my way in and play this game. When I first knew that I had to build a D&D group, I did have a few people in mind. So there was at least just a pool of friends that I could select to be part of the table. Then it was just getting them to say yes.
The perfect session 0 would be all of the players have an idea of what they want this campaign to look like.
My session 0 with my players was a bit different, and I'm pretty sure there are DMs out there that have experienced what I experienced, but I didn't have to introduce these players to each other.
You know, sometimes it's a big group of friends that come together. Sometimes it's like a disparate group of friends where everybody's connected only by 1 degree. It gets to know each other, so just that familiarity is huge. The Dungeon Master, in their head probably, understands how to make these things flow with what their ideas are.
Yeah, so the reason I became a DM is because I work with a kid who is very, very good at a lot of things, and we started doing it and he really enjoys it. And so I'm also enjoying learning how to be a DM.
The coolest thing about dungeon mastering is the players don't know what you've already come up with. And so they could be like, "Ooh, I bet this is why the necromancer is trying to enslave this town."
For me, it's the prep, for sure, is where I find the most fun and the most experience, is kind of just getting all this weird fantasy stuff out of my brain and onto paper, and then seeing how I can incorporate those things into the game.
It's tricky because there's a fine line between over-preparation and under-preparation that I think a DM needs to meet.
So as a player, I don't feel like for a session 0 there is a ton of prep that's necessary. I think for a dungeon master there is a lot more.
This is my version of over-prepping, and I love doing this. Yeah, highlighted everything from what they can buy at shops, when I need to take a break, and then, yeah. Random table books, any of my resources get highlighted, what pages. If we have a session on a Friday night, I'll let it wash over me on Saturday. Sunday, I'm sitting back at this table with my book open and I'm just writing. I'm prepping lore, I'm prepping what contingency plan A, B, C, D. Oh, I think they're gonna do this, so there's E, and then that'll spin off to something else. I love the idea of building this world for my players to experience, but then writing all the nuances that come with that.
You do want to be prepared for like all circumstances, like major circumstances, but at the same time, you need to be flexible enough to just like, okay, like that part of it's not going to get done today.
So as a dungeon master, I personally think you got to find inspiration from everywhere, whether that be something you're reading, maybe a video game that you're playing, or just like a painting.
Here I just threw some of these out, some of my favorite things role-playing wise. Not all Dungeons and Dragons. Love Dungeons and Dragons, but I dig into Cyberpunk Red, Mike Pondsmith, genius, Hall of Famer when it comes to writing.
Like I said, you got to find it from everywhere. There's even things like Devil in the Kitchen, Marco Pierre White. It's a cooking book, has nothing to do with fantasy, has nothing to do with any of that genre, but the character in here, me as a player, is like I take inspiration from these guys. How can I emulate what this guy does into my Death Domain cleric?
For D&D, this is where a lot of my inspiration comes from, these type of games. I love an urban setting. In Thieves' World, it's both fiction setting, a collaborative fiction setting, and there's RPG supplements from the 80s as well. Almost impossible to find right now, but they're phenomenal and can give so much fun inspiration.
I think the most challenging thing about being a DM is coming with a plan and within 2 minutes having it be derailed.
I think that is one of the biggest derailment, being derailed and being thrown off guard by your players' choices is one of the first big learning experiences for a dungeon master. It happens constantly. It's just like, wait, that's what you want to do? Like, okay, I guess. I think the important thing for dungeon masters to learn is just roll with that, because that's where the fun is. You may have this idea of what you want to do, and it may be really cool, but you're not walking your players through a novel. You're giving them a scenario, and they're getting to choose. So I think a lot of times a player can come in, a lot of the session zeros come in almost knowing nothing. You could send them just a short thing of like, hey, you're going to create your character. Here's some different options. So as a player, I don't feel like for a session zero, there is a ton of prep that's necessary. I think for a dungeon master, there is a lot more. You don't have to know the rules completely, but you want to be able to explain rules, especially character creation. As when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, you want to be able to explain, what a skill check is, what a save is, what these different stats as you're building your character means. I think a lot of, first-time dungeon masters, they have to learn that. But after you've done 2, 3, or you've been a player for a while, 2 or 3 campaigns, or you've been a player for a while, it's less prep and just like refresh yourself. Just skim over the Dungeons Master Guide and player creation in the Player's Handbook. So just a quick review is really all you need if you've done it a couple times. As far as world building too, I found it, this is something newly that I found in a session zero, building a world together can be lots of fun too, and then playing in that world that the players have built with you gets them more engaged, gets them more involved, and makes the stakes higher, I guess, because now it's not just, oh, we're playing in the world that Brian made up. No, we're playing in the world that we made up. So yeah, going to Nick's table was fun. I think it's always fun to switch the roles between somebody that you're used to dungeon mastering for and they're your player, and switching them. You get to kind of see a different style, and you can see, ooh, I already know what kind of player Nick is. Now I get to see how that reflects as a dungeon master, and it is similar. I know Nick specifically plays in a way where the character, at least in the campaign we've played, it's kind of like a brooding, darker character, and then Nick brings that to this campaign as a whole. It's like a darker, brooding kind of play. Also, Nick has dope minis and sets and puts a lot of work into it. As somebody that mostly does, skinny minis and kind of has maps and mostly Shadow of the Theater of the Mind, it's really cool to play in that kind of setting.
One of the big reasons that I wanted to bring physical miniatures and maps and things like that to my players is I remember going to GaryCon for the very first time. So I took the trek up to Lake Geneva by myself and sat at a table to play a game. And the table that I was at was running completely Theater of the Mind. But if you've ever been to GaryCon, you know that the area that we play D&D in gets super loud. It's super loud. You're almost like having to lean in and really hear what the DM was saying. As I'm playing the game, I keep peeking at the table behind me, and there's the DM there has this massive castle out, and there's forest and there's trees and I keep remembering leaning over my shoulder, trying to peek at what they're doing over there. And it was just getting me excited. I was like, wow, man, that looks really, really cool. Again, Theater of the Mind was fine. I had a great time playing at the table that I was at, but that image was just burned in my brain, looking over my shoulder and seeing this really cool castle and seeing all these people kind of experience playing D&D with physical terrain. Seeing it in person, I was like, I want a taste of that. I want to play a game that way. I wanted to become a dungeon master because I wanted to play the game more. If I was going to become a dungeon master, well, I needed players.
So I can either try to disintegrate or take over the monster or put him to sleep.
I would take over the monster and cause chaos on these people.
Alright, fuck it, let me try it. Alright, what are you casting?
just like the only way to really tell if you got a great dungeon master is if you kind of have something to compare it to. And I have played with a few other people. And what's awesome is I feel like this is, you could say this same thing about even artists. One might not be better than the other. They just have their own qualities.
So what makes a good dungeon master is punishment. I like to see punishment, and I like to see characters not get what they want.
What I like about Nick's DM style is the theatrics and the layout, the minifigs, everything, because it is so like, I don't know, it draws you in.
I mean, I've played with a few other DMs, but I don't imagine they're doing opening credit scenes or closing credit scenes or creating these giant terrains with a million minifigs on the table that we get to sit down and look at. And then even beyond that, in just like the environment is cool, you know, just to sit in a dark room around a table with all of our setups and stuff. It just feels comfortable and like, all right, lock in, we're about to play D&D, you know?
You guys you found him in this abandoned mine who Morpheoso said that he overheard them talking about a weapon that could turn the tides.
But even aside from that, he goes deep enough into all these stories where we hear about the lore before we actually get to the main boss. It feels like from week to week that we're moving up to a massive boss. Like it's not just like boss after boss every week of like massive monster. There are like climaxes. There are like season enders before we level up. A lot of the times it's a theater of the mind. It's much less of a theater of the mind.
All right, we'll start with an easy question. Are you deliberately trying to sabotage the DM's plans?
Kinda, yeah. No, I think it is, I think it's fun to poke, not just at the DM, but every player.
What's the problem?
Well, I'm stuck between him and this broad.
Well, wait, why don't you whack him on the back of the head or something? What do you...
Well, I already, my turns are over. I have movement now.
Oh.
I am a very theatrical person, and I appreciate when people put in some sort of like creative effort. And that doesn't even have to be like pieces or the music, like all the little things that make it what it is.
I think what makes a great dungeon master is knowing the rules really well and having a plan for that week, but then being okay with totally throwing that away.
There has to be friction in the game. You know, there is a lot of friction between dungeon masters and other players arguing about results and roles. 7 treat.
Instantly roll into a grapple. So you're gonna
See how
do.
it didn't happen the first time, but okay.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
Interesting that didn't happen the first time. It can happen now. We can even make it worse if you want it.
I'm just having fun. Get your panties in a bunch over there.
Alright. You don't.
But I like that. You know, there has to be some negative consequences to everything. This game it's an evil game, like technically. So like, there's got to be, you know, evil consequences to a lot of actions.
We are a group of people playing fictional characters, and I want to test the limit of these fictional characters, and that includes the DM, the world that he's building. So if we go into a cabin, I want to look at all the crevices, you know? I want to see what's happening in the corners, you know? I want to go talk to a random NPC. I want to see what happens, you know? And, I mean, if that's testing the limits of the DM, so be it, you know?
I had no idea what D&D was. And then when I was told that it was an imagination game, I was like, oh, that's interesting and free. Let's try that.
I said yes to playing Dungeons and Dragons because I think it's a good creative environment. In any other scenario, when you go out and hang out with people, you're not building something. I mean, like you're building. Actually, you're building relationships, but it's cool to build something creatively with a group of people. D&D is really fun, but it's also a commitment, and I feel like that's the only thing that turns me and other people away from playing D&D. Aside from that, it's a blast.
Well, the likes of playing the game itself, I mean, it's chill. I don't have to think about anything else outside of Dungeons and Dragons. We get to have some beers, drinks, get to eat. It's kind of like a family Sunday feeling.
Apples, because it's a
Whole fucking lemon?
and spicy dip. If you don't do the apples,
This will do.
What I find the enjoyment on most is using the spells not for battle. Like when you have some weird spell, or just when you can, it doesn't even have to be a spell, like whenever you can be creative enough to think of a way to just screw up the whole DM's plan for the night, that in my mind is the best thing.
It's fun to just kind of make up bullshit on the fly. I don't know, it's just fun. It's just kind of like fun to torture your group a little bit. Try to annoy them to get a rise out of people. That's just me, though.
That was the most
The
dramatic
same
Cheeto
thing.
shot.
I'm just gonna thunder wave them.
Faces like half lit.
So,
Yeah, you're
Constitution save, I think.
Damn.
And I
What is
need
that?
those
Christopher Nolan? What
is
D8s
that?
again, peoples. I need
Tiny
two-
fresca.
I need 2 D8s.
The only thing
No,
I'm
I got
missing
yours.
is
Oh,
tequila
I
and
got one more.
tahini.
I need 1 D8.
I wish people would fuck around more.
What is,
Kill him.
when I say I'm about to kill you, what does he do?
He tries to run past you.
What an asshole, dude.
What do you do?
Just kill him.
Opportunity attack.
Alright, I knock his head against the rock and I drag him with me. We go this way.
Why?
I'm drawn to stories that are either high stakes or funny. You know, I'm drawn to humor. So if there is a situation where I can either do something serious that might save the group or make everyone laugh, for the story's sake, I think I would rather make everyone laugh.
Pitch black.
Pitch black.
You don't even put up fire. My nostril flares. I smell the sweet smell of treasure.
Treasure.
And I gain the ability to levitate for just 1 minute over to the chest. And I open
Like
it
an
up.
apple pie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say would be kind of on the negative side of D&D is there's so many different minds involved, which is not a bad thing, but you know, everybody's got their own ways of playing. You got one guy pickpocketing dead bodies every 20 feet, and these other people are, you know, chasing butterflies in the outfield sometimes.
I think there's a lot of ball busters in our group, and we kind of don't want to see each other succeed. I feel like this is, I don't know. This is a loaded question because I feel like everyone thinks that they might be something different than they actually are in my mind. To me,
Number one offender is Bureau. Looking for change.
I'd say Bureau is our resident fool. Like, he makes some ridiculous decisions, but a lot of the times it's for the good.
Can I disengage and use him to jump off of and get back up?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I want to disengage, jump off of him, and run as far as I can.
He's like he's Indiana Jones lifting the sack of gold and trying to put the sand on there. and the boulder comes for all of us.
I mean, there's two things. Specifically, when I created Barrow, there's two things I'm a fan of. And on the serious outlook of it, I think that I'm drawn to heroes that have raw power. Like in this game, people have spells and stuff, and I'm a monk fighting with my fists. My other side of character creation, I feel like a character needs to have flaws for it to be relatable and for it to succeed.
Well, okay. So you're gonna.
You can do both. Disengage is your turn. Is your action.
So
But he's using a key
I'm
point.
using a key point.
Oh.
So, and that's my last key point.
Okay.
So I'd say Morpheoso is the wild card, which I do like.
I'm a click-clack Cadillac.
Here's some idea.
Click-clack.
Does a 19 hit?
That hits.
I think out of all the five of us, he's definitely the strongest. So I did know I wanted him to be human, and I wanted him to have like a real emotional human backstory. I didn't want him to be anything too supernatural. His name Morpheoso is from Morpheus from the Matrix, and then we all know that story is somewhat that religious backstory. You know, hints of it at least. I mean, it's kind of obvious.
So you kind of jump up, Thor style. Tarkov lights up Earthsbane, and you bring that down onto him on the shoulder.
I feel like Cosma has a lot of spells that sometimes she just finds out last minute that, oh, I could be using this.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna thunderwave them.
Right.
Anyone?
One of them is going to succeed.
I don't know how to do math. 10. 6, 20 points of damage. Cosma is defense.
And then I want to do the spores.
She can take a blow. She has symbiotic entity, which more than multiplies her HP. And now I can summon an elemental and do more helpful things than just lose HP.
Seven Tree is our scout. She's always kind of out of the range of danger, really. She's in a tree, shooting arrows, sneak attacking.
Just a pure strength check.
A 15.
Okay. So he throws you off his back. You kind of slide, and then you go running back at him, and you
Tackle him
grab
to the ground.
Try to tackle him to the ground. Okay.
I succeed in tackling him.
Now you're in a grapple
Yeah.
with him.
And I call out for reinforcements from my friends. Help me!
Okay.
My first memory of fantasy is probably Power Rangers. I just remember me and the kids on the block playing as all of the Power Rangers. And I specifically remember wanting to be the Red Ranger and picking everyone else's Rangers for them. So I was probably an asshole, isn't that right?
If you had to assign a color to your brother, what color Ranger would he be?
I can't do that one. I don't want to jump in on that.
Gaimon, he's definitely the Blue Ranger of the group. He's a nerd. Always, I don't know what the hell he's talking about or what he's doing. His mayonnaise and crystals. His little rat.
I could actually cast Armor of Agathes on Rat. That is the biggest waste of. No, that'd be sick, actually.
That really would.
That'd be sick.
I would use my dispel magic though to dispel
How do
rat's
you do
armor.
that? How do you do that?
Just because I got.
I think I set myself up
Just
for
'cause I
creative
dispel.
freedom with Gaimon because he's the child in the group. He does what he wants. I shoot mayo. I'm not shooting fire or anything. It's weird. I like keeping it weird.
That's the best way I can put it. Al's just the Blue Ranger of the group. You take that as is.
Ooh.
This is a nicer Cheeto shot.
Can we not get any more Cheeto shots?
Yeah, come on now.
We're anti-heroes for sure.
Our group is notorious for looking directly at the path and walking the other way.
Well, here's the thing about our characters. Everybody's got like their own like secret ulterior motive. I don't know what they are, and they're not telling us on purpose.
Always some weird battles or whatever. We'll just rip the limbs off someone and for no reason at all. We created a war right off the bat in the beginning of the campaign.
There was a cave we were in after we had just put, my character had just put a giant serpent to sleep. So we only had like, 30 minutes to kind of make a move. Al's character, Game On, was given the option to grab a crystal or a key.
And I knew I couldn't take both. I had to choose for my own good or for the good of the squad. And I chose the crystal, and it fucked me in the end because we couldn't get out of the cave.
It wasn't working out, so we ended up having to talk him into putting the crystal back in order to get that second key. Otherwise, we couldn't have proceeded with the story.
At first. But, with twisting of the hands from some of the other characters and just realizing that, I could find that crystal again, hopefully in the future, I did a workaround and we got the key to get out of the cave. Well, I wasn't even on this session, but they burnt down a boat and jumped off that boat, and I'm pretty sure there was some necessary equipment that we need that blew up the boat.
We were on a ship looking for somebody. I don't remember the name, but in hindsight, there was somebody important on the bottom of that ship, and we ended up just closing all the doors to get out from the hull, and we blew up the ship.
And not only that, we left in a heroic fashion, like the ship blew up. But it was because I lit a fart on fire and jumped off the ship in an explosion, which if I saw that on screen, not only would I laugh, but that'd be like, that's kind of awesome,
And come to find, we blew up somebody important. I don't remember who it was, but it bit us in the ass later, like a year and a half later.
D&D is about story building, and that means that there needs to be ups and downs. So I think I want someone to die soon.
So my character has the Eye of Vecna.
I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna say. I don't even think I'm gonna speak the
You
target.
just whipped out your eye, dude.
I didn't whip out my eye yet. I take
Okay.
a swig of my flask, and then I put the flask in my mouth. I bite down on it like a piece of leather. And I pull my dagger out.
Morpheoso is dead for sure. He, I think he wants to die secretly, though. I feel like he pulled that Vecna eye and he pulled out his own eye and put the Vecna eye in, and luckily he got a lot of power from it, but he's been using it consistently, and at any point he could die from using that eye.
And it is very easy for me to disintegrate creatures and other enemies, but when it comes to the big guys, suddenly they're very resistant to this sort of magic, which is good. It should be that way. If I didn't have those restrictions, then it'd just be like I'm on a Game Shark and I'm just disintegrating everybody and we can just win.
Winning the game is really the goal of a D&D game. It's more of like, how did we create the best possible story?
But just throughout playing this campaign, though, I feel like I've kind of lost my way a little bit. Not everything I do is for the greater good. Sometimes it just becomes violent. I think he's becoming, tempted by his powers. But he's trying. He's trying.
So I knew when I was at GaryCon and I wanted to bring like physical terrains and miniatures in, I knew that there was only one person that could help me achieve like the vision of the game that I wanted to play.
I don't know, I've been like doing art stuff in general a long time. The first art class I ever took that wasn't like grade school, everybody takes an art class, was freshman year of high school. So I would, I guess, say then, that's when I was like, I'm gonna be an artist. I typically will have a hobby for 8 months, and I've discovered that through my life, something will be interesting to me for 8 months. And so I was painting my nails every day for 8 months. And then on that 8th month, D&D started. And I was like, new hobby, as suggested from my friend, and I fucking love it. So it has managed to beat the 8-month curse. And the only other thing that has done that is like singing. That's the only other thing I still do every day.
What were your initial thoughts when you were asked to paint miniatures?
At first I was like scared. I was like, oh, if I start doing this and then I don't like it, that's gonna suck. But I also was like done painting my nails, so I needed something new, and it made sense. Like I was doing all of these like tiny, like it wasn't just like I paint a color, like I was like painting all these crazy designs and stuff. And so like when it had been suggested, like why don't you try painting this, I was like, that makes perfect sense. Like that is an appropriate transition. It's exciting to see like all the new things, and especially because I'm not picking out the things I'm painting necessarily. Like it's given to me and then I'm given direction, and like I really thrive with direction. Like if somebody says, I want this to look like this vibe, or they're gonna be cousins and these are the colors to use, like it gives me just enough information to be like, I'm gonna just like pump this shit out. It's like interesting getting to like not pick, just having someone be like, surprise, this is the next thing you're gonna paint. And I'm like, hell yeah.
This is my amazing collection of miniatures. Basically, all of these, I'd say like 92% were painted by Connie, which is really great. One of my favorite ones, this bone golem, which is just a giant pile of muscle and bone. It's really cool to throw at the players. I got some big boys too, like this is a recent one that the quintet encountered. This is my version of the Knoll God Yinogu. Connie did a really great paint job on this bad boy, which is nice. My players just recently encountered him. I heard a person say that they're like individual pieces of art, which I do agree, because you can kind of just see like little bitty details, the skulls, the shadow on the fingernails, the black chain. The reason he's got like red crystals on there is for a specific reason for my players. But yeah, very cool. But yeah, you got everything, huge assortment from gnolls and goblins and undead and werewolves and vampires. You gotta have Strahd if you're doing vampires. Strahd was a campaign that we ran started in Halloween, but Strahd was a pretty good villain there for a little bit. But yeah, as being a person that uses miniatures and physical terrain, I'm a sucker for buying way too many. This is just a few that I have on display, not even the whole collection, which I'm hoping will make room. And then I got like some other big ones over here. The Hydra, which is really cool, and then this unpainted Lich that I'm working on, who I'm pretty sure everybody knows who this will eventually become. This is my version of Vecna for here. But yeah, just a small preview. Like I said, I love miniatures, and all of them are painted by Connie.
It's like really exciting when I see my own stuff, but I'm also like wanting people to notice, and the problem is like that's not the point. Like, nobody's like, great work, Connie.
What the frick?
What would you say has been one of the most rewarding things to painting miniatures?
It's given me a reason to like work outside of work. I feel like for a long time I would be done with my work day and then like I don't want to focus on anything else. I don't want to do anything else. Like nothing was like totally interesting enough to make me like work at it. And like this, I feel like I'm still trying to do better. I'm still like trying to learn new techniques and like build things and like do all these things. I'm happy that I'm like using my creativity and my brain when I'm not just like doing the 9 to 5 and I don't know.
This dude's right behind this wall here with the barrel.
I was in the backyard
Nick,
and an owl came in and scooped it the fuck up, dude. At least
Fucking
that
do
was a
it.
story I remember. She was like, yeah.
What we're doing, we sit down at a table and we get to see all of our minifigs, and they're all painted awesome, and they're all there's a huge terrain. There might be like a giant skull in the middle of something, or a like a giant volcano that has like stuff in it. Like, and immediately, if you're playing theater of the mind, it's hard to have all the characters on the same page, envisioning that. And when you are, you as a character can be like, oh, well, yeah, I want to go to the top of that hill right there. Or I want to sit on that skull, or I want to throw something in the volcano, you know? So it definitely adds to the game.
I want an acted out monologue from an NPC that we just run into like in a voice. Something really dramatic and silly.
We could get away without using figures, but it would have to. There would be a lot more work for the dungeon master to kind of create that space. A lot of what we do is very detailed on whether there may be a tree or a rooftop somewhere. I mean, obviously I can see it if there's models, but if we were just going based on imagination, it'd just be, I think it'd just, be 50 more questions ahead of making moves, which I don't like.
So it's amazing to see the first time. Now I feel like it would be very hard to go back to a theater of the mind scenario. Not that it's impossible, but I feel like now, once you see it on a scale like this, how could you go back like that? It would suck to do that.
Minis and terrain help me tell a cool story, but if I don't have players to share that story with, what's the point?
So there's you brought the Doritos
She
up
said
here?
bring them!
Yeah,
Put them by Kate.
You can't be touching any minifigs or anything with Dorito dust fingers.
Come on.
I said bring them up. It's
you can use this.
party time.
Or no, I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
There's also the little cooler by Kate and Connie that has beers and stuff in there.
Are you gonna be
Oh,
holding
there's
that
a
all the time?
hole in this
No.
bag.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Oh.
Was that dripping all the way up here?
Maybe. I have an
Connie,
offering.
why don't you sit in the...
Oh, I should sit in the comfier chair.
Where are you gonna have that
But
camera
it does
station?
feel like my place is here. I saw
It's
that
not
too,
going
but I
to
feel
be.
like I like
That chair's out of order.
Oh, never
Why?
I feel like giving people advice for Dungeons and Dragons. You hear a lot. Sometimes you got to just do it. Just play the game. Like find a game and just play it.
So my advice to new players would be organize your notes, your inventory. You know, just as you would a video game, even though it's automated on the video game, here you are definitely in charge of taking care of all of that yourself. And my notes are horrendous.
Some of the advice kind of feels like one of those live, laugh, love posters that you see. And I find that kind of corny.
I would say find your character, especially if you're brand new. Understand your character, but you don't have to understand everything. You don't have to understand all the spells. You don't have to understand what all the different classes do. You just have to understand what you have in front of you. The rest you'll start to understand and you'll start to absorb as you play at the table, but just understanding your character and what your character can do is enough.
As a DM, that is where I would say know your audience, know who your players are, and then try to give them the best version of yourself.
I truly believe you have to be a yes and for comedy and for storytelling to really flourish. Yeah, what I've learned from D&D is I believe I started playing D&D with a plan. You can't deny what the person right next to you just said. You have to kind of run with it, even if it's not what you were planning on doing. I would go in, and even if it was like an hour before the session, I'd think like, well, if we fight this villain, or if we go up to do this with this character, what's my plan? It makes a better story when you run with whatever someone else is doing, because as soon as everyone starts battling each other, it's obvious that they had a previous notion of what they wanted the story to be, and it's never going to be that. How can I kind of like preemptively make myself, I don't know, like the hero in the situation, or fuck it up? I don't know. Whatever it is, I would have a plan, and I don't think that's the right way to go about it anymore. I think that's in all creative scenarios when you're working with people. If you have an idea of what you want to be, and then just place yourself in that story and ask yourself, what would your character do in that scenario, and run with that. I think that's the best way to storytell.
Ever since playing D&D, a lot of things creatively have kind of opened up, blossomed in my mind. I would say that a lot of the lessons that I've learned while playing this game is to be vigilant in everything that you do during the day. Whether that's what you're reading, what you're writing, what music you're listening to, what TV shows you're watching, because there's always something that you could take and tweak and put into your game. Dungeons and Dragons is a lot of things. It's eating food and having drinks and laughing with friends and arguing and telling stories and writing lore and rolling dice and building terrain and finding minis and painting and reading books and making this documentary. It's all of this stuff. That's what Dungeons and Dragons is to me, and that's why I love this game so much. And I couldn't ask for a better group of friends to sit at my table.
Dice throwers and rock and rollers, we need you more than ever now. Shield bearers
No. No, dude. You got to become a more inconspicuous cameraman, you know?